Hello, this Swarm HR help video is on how to use the invoices function under the admin dropdown. So first we're going to close the user access dropdown and open up the admin access dropdown. Then we're going to hit invoices. As you can see, there's 4 tabs in this invoices function. There's time-based invoices, open invoice lists, close invoice lists, and supplier payment. So if we go onto the type employee name right next to employee and we put in an example employee, say Jake Harvey, and hit go, then you can select a project that he's working on. He's working on one project, brand root. So we select that project and then we select a month. The timesheets for this project have been occurring in February in the year 2019. So we're going to hit that, and then we're going to generate a preview of the invoice. Here, if you scroll down, you can see this is a preview of the invoice. And then if you scroll further down, you can add attachments, and then you can hit generate. Down here, it also says a function for updating the timesheet hours that are related to said invoice. So if you hit the generate button, the invoice will be generated. And now the invoice was generated successfully. Now we look at the next tab, Open Invoice List. As you can see, there's the invoice we just created, and then there's a previous invoice that's still there. There's multiple functions that you can see on these invoices. The first one being View Timesheet. Here you can see how many hours were in the timesheet of the invoice, and you can update or delink them. Then the next function is you can view a PDF of the invoice. Here, if you scroll down, you can see the invoice in its entirety in PDF format if you had decided to print it. The next function is to view the invoice details. Here you can look at the invoice number, employee name, project name, the vendor client name, the start date, the end date, the total hours, the bill rate, the invoice date, the invoice amount, and the amount due. Then you can email the invoice, where you can select who it's from, you can select who it's to, CC, BCC, the subject, and also the email. And then the invoice PDF will be attached to said email. And then all you'd have to do is hit the send button. The last feature is invoice inbox. There's no emails to view, but if emails had been sent for this invoice, they would appear here. And then there's a couple more functions below where you can see that there's editing the invoice, where if you hit it, you have the option to edit the invoice. Then there's invoice payments, where since there's no payments made for this invoice, you can't see any, but if there was, then you'd be able to see them here. Then there's deleting invoice, where yes, you can delete the invoice or with the timesheet as uninvoiced or revert the timesheet as uninvoiced. And then lastly, there's the info option, where it'll take you to tell you the activity that was related to said invoice. Now we're going on to the next tab, the closed invoice list. Here you'll see all the invoices that have been received. And since there are none here, you obviously won't see them, but if you did have invoices, it would look similar to the open invoice list. Then this tab is the supplier payment tab, which is just simply a consumer to consumer invoice tab. As you can see, everything will be listed under date, client, supplier, invoice number, billed amount, payment section, where it'll show the entries, and the options to use it will be similar to the open invoice list that we showed before. So the last thing we're going to talk about is the 3 functions at the top right of the screen. First, we're going to click on the blue one, Custom Client Invoice. Here you can type in the name of a client to generate a template for said client. Now, if you scroll down, you can see that you can change the information that's there. Who you're billing to, the contact name, desk number, extension number, mobile, email, the invoice number, the invoice date, the payment due, and the total invoice amount, along with the description, the hours, and the amount due. There's a space for a footer, and you can add attachments to the invoice before you generate it. The second function that's there is Custom Invoice. Here you type in an employee's name and generate the template. Then you choose the project that the employee has associated with them. And then again, similar to the other custom template, you can edit all these following areas and then hit generate to generate the invoice. The last thing we're going to look at is the search format. Here you can either type in an employee name or a client name and search for invoices with those people in them. Since, again, we only have 2 invoices, you obviously can't see it from that search. But if we typed in the employee we have, you'd be able to see that the invoices do show up. That's it for this video. Again, if you have any kind of question, you can always email us. Our email address will be in the link below. Hope you liked this video and learned a lot. Thank you.